Hello everyone. Today I'm going to discuss about Eric Arthur Blair and his essays. Eric Arthur Blair, who is popularly known as George Orwell among us, George Orwell is actually his pen name. Uh, he is mainly known as George Orwell among us. He is famous for his fictions. You know him for his uh, dystopic fiction like 1984 and political allegory like Animal Farm. He is also famous for his another novel Burmese Days. But today I am going to discuss his non-fiction, his essays. Before jumping to Orwell's essays, I want to discuss about two other essays from English literature, and I am going to discuss about Francis Bacon and Charles Lamb. I hope you have read them. Otherwise, it will be difficult to get what I am saying. If you have read Francis Bacon, you have seen that his essays are almost like syllogism, with the conclusion in the third part or the third paragraph with moral or the conclusion or summing or the summing up of the whole essay. His essays are more didactic. It feels almost like you are in a classroom. The teacher is teaching or saying things to do and things that you must avoid. His essays are almost like teaching to I mean he teaches you to live up to a certain kind of ideal life, uh, certain level of kind of ideal life, because essays reads almost like that. His essays are didactic. He uses latinate phrases, quotes. His essays are very short and 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 uh, and full of teachings. In contrast, Charles Lamb's essays are more personal. Charles Lamb's essays reads like ruminations, are more private. They are more romantic in nature because there is no structure, particular structure like Bacon's essays. In Bacon's essays, you have seen that there is a kind of structure, meticulous structure. But in Charles Lamb's essays, they are free flowing. The 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 vocabulary of his essays, the words, the lines are very easy to read, very easy to understand, and they are very private kind of essays like superannuated man, dream children, old China, uh, even Christ Hospital, like this kind of essays, uh, which though romantic, are actually his own opinion, his own, uh, his own experiences. He actually tells about his experiences in the essays, and from that experiences, from those experiences, he uh, he I mean he derives a kind of conclusion, and kind of theory, a kind of theorize or philosophize his experiences. uh, Now let's come to the topic uh, for which I am here. I am going to discuss. George Orwell's essays. I mainly am going to discuss the essays like Why I Write, Books of Memories, A Hanging, uh, A Thought. Let me read. Reflections on Gandhi. Sorry, Politics and the English Language, Some Thoughts on Common Toad, Books and Cigarettes, uh, My Country, Left or Right, a shooting an elephant, a hanging, and the spike. If I talk about the essays like the spike, a hanging, shooting an elephant, books of memories, these four essays are completely Orwell's personal experiences, real life experiences. If I talk about the spike is a actually name for English workhouse, where common people who are out of work, who is unable to provide for themselves or cannot have no shelter to sleep and live, goes there. Uh, the person goes there and gets job and kind of hard life, and on that experience, Orwell wrote that essay, The Spike. It is actually an experience of Orwell. If I talk about a hanging, Hanging is also experience of Orwell. Hanging is uh, actually experience of Orwell when he was a police officer in Burma and was in charge of of hanging. I mean, uh, the group was in charged to hang a man accused of some crime. It was an Indian man, and Orwell, like just like the previous essay, the Spike describes the incidents that happens that day. And interestingly, what I found in this essay very interesting and uh, interesting is that Orwell does not uh, clearly describe, I mean, clearly reveal what he wants to say, but suggest. In this essay there are many suggestions that that the man they are going to hang actually a common human being, and he has not committed a crime, though he may have committed crime in the, it seems that he may have committed crime in the eyes of the colonizers in the colonial government, but actually the place, the whole of land is actually there, and they have, I mean, they uh, their right to revolt or take arms against the colonial power, colonial rule. They have, actually this is not a crime. What we feel, what I felt reading that essay that Orwell wants to say or wants to reveal. Uh, at the very end of the essay, there is a, I mean, the group of police officers who they are discussing, and one police officer says that there was a prisoner who causing trouble for them when they were going to hang them, and the police officer told that prisoner that just imagine how much trouble you are causing to us. So can you guess the ambiguity that there lurks in those words? I mean, who is causing trouble? The colonial power to the native, because this whole land is belongs to the people of Orient. I mean, people of, I mean, the native people are not theirs. They are the alien in this land. They usurped our land, our wealth. I mean, they are torturing us. We are not criminals, even when we take arms against them. So this essay is a kind of uh, experience Orwell wants to kind of share with us. And as I was saying, this essay reads almost like a mixture of fact and fiction. Reads almost like a fiction. Uh, as there is ambiguity lurks here and there. If I talk about books of memories is also a personal and real life experience of Orwell. And uh, when he was working in a bookshop, what he felt, what he saw, what kind of customers come in a bookshop, what are the books they buy and what they desire, and uh, uh, this experience is expressed in books of memories and nothing more than that. If I talk about shooting an elephant is very much an important essay. To me, it is, I mean, very important as it is included in various university syllabus throughout India, and it is a favorite among students, critics, even writers. Shooting an elephant is, I mean, is very much important for various reasons. Shooting an elephant ends with a line that Orwell shot that elephant to avoid looking being a fool. Have you read Passage to India by E.M. Foster? I hope you have read. And if you have read Passage to India by E.M. Foster, uh, you already notice that image making, or the stereotypical image that popular media through newspaper, television, novel, or histories formed in our minds. in passage to India, an Indian young man, a Muslim man, a doctor, is accused of raping a British girl. Though the actual action, the action of rape, does not happen in reality, but still the lady accuses the young Indian of that action. And why? Because thought that she thought she thought and felt, somehow felt in the Barabar cave, that that man, Indian man, is going to rape her. Though that does not happen, she faints, she feels, she runs out of the cave, and she only failed. And there, as there were no witnesses, uh, uh, the Indian man is accused, just because the image of Indian men or people from Orient is that of rapist, savage. They are superstitious. They practice hocus pocus. So you see, image plays a crucial part in the crucial part in our lives, even in present day. We think that we think I mean, we paint rich people in a different light in our minds. We paint poor people in different light in our minds. We think of women, girls, men, our friends in a different lights. We ourselves paint them in our minds in a different lights. And this version is different in all of the persons. I mean, all uh, in every person these kind of things are different in different way, appears in different way. That's why our subjective notion is different. But this kind of notion, this kind of image making is very, I mean, very collective. As in the essay Shooting an Elephant, we see that an elephant was creating a pandemonium in a village of Burma. The elephant was destroying hearts, shops, and causing much trouble. So Orwell was there and was called to kill the elephant. Orwell, a leftist at heart, though though I mean, he saw that the elephant was causing trouble, and he was also troubled as he was called to shoot the elephant. But uh, ultimately he himself was afraid. But he saw in the eyes of the native that they I mean, they kind of worship the colonial power. They think that colonizers are superior, are more powerful than them. They are more powerful, that they are capable of do anything. That's why so big a creature, elephant, can be controlled by a single man like Orwell. Can you imagine? This kind of image making affects our daily life even in modern day. And though it is reads like a presented by Orwell as an actual experiences, though an actual experiences, it it almost is like a, I mean a fictional prose. There lurks, uh, I mean, prose reads like ambiguous poetry. There lurks different connotation, different meaning in that essay. So going away to another essay, uh, books versus cigarettes, is an essay that is there in this book by Penguin Publication, Shooting an Elephant. uh, Books versus cigarettes is an unique essay. This essay is actually Orwell's protest, and I mean, Orwell tries to prove that reading book, buying book is not, and never was and never will be, a luxurious or pastime of rich. It can be practiced by anyone, by any person. If doesn't matter if he or she is laborer or from lower class people, or from lower class, because there are libraries. If you want to read books, there are libraries. You can borrow books, or 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 even you can buy books. Or else shows that a common British citizen, if he is a laborer or lower class, middle class, or belongs to lower or middle class, he buys cigarettes or wine or say beer, uh, the expenditure, the money he spends behind cigarettes, beer or alcohol is something that with that money he can buy, I mean with half the money that he spends behind these things he can buy books. Even if he does not want to buy books, he can even borrow books to if he wants to read. So Orwell's conclusion is that one must not say that reading book or buying book is reading book is pastime of the rich or uh, and Orwell says that one can buy book, but what is important is that it is uh, book read books are read less, probably because it is not that famous like watching going to the cinemas or or going to the bars or pubs and spending money on beers, drinks, alcohols and movies. So that is the conclusion we see uh, in this essay. And the essays on Charles Dickens and the essay Reflections on Gandhi is actually Orwell's private opinion, personal, very personal opinion on Gandhi. And the politics and English language actually, uh, Orwell's I mean Orwell is fed up with the vagueness of English language and how vague and how the English non-fictional prose then was used to be like long sentences, used to consist long sentences, more metaphors, this kind of thing. So Orwell boils down his objective or his suggestion to 6 points in the essay Politics and the English Language. At the end he says that if you want to write good English with a free from vagueness, I mean much clearer, much lucid and available to all class of people, it must be never use metaphor, simile, or other figure of speech which you are used to seeing in print. Never use a long word where a shorter one will do. If it is possible to cut a word out, always cut it out. Never use the passive where you can use the active. Never use a foreign phrase, a scientific word, or a jargon word if you can think of everyday English equivalent. Break any of these rules sooner than say anything outright barbarous. So that's it. That's it. The essay talks. I mean, that was the kind of conclusion of that essay. This book actually, interestingly, Shooting an Elephant by George Orwell by Penguin Publication begins with an introduction that begins with an interesting line saying that if you want to learn how to write non-fiction, Orwell is your man. And I totally agree with this point. And why is that? Because Orwell's range is, much bigger. Orwell's essays, the themes on which Orwell writes, like why I write, why he writes, themes like his own experiences, essays on Gandhi, Dickens, uh, cigarettes versus, books. You can imagine how vast his range is. That's why I agree with this point. And I just discussed about the politics of English language. He talked of fluidity, lucidity, clearance of language. He almost word against the vagueness of non-fictional prose that we find sometime in English language. And the essay I skipped the essay why I write in why I write Orwell describes his childhood, how he grows up, what his notion is. And he describes this thing because he says that to know a writer, to analyze a writer's notion to his books, and to and to know what he thinks and what he wants to express in a book, one must know what uh, how what his social background is, or how he grows up, and how he spent his childhood life, and what he's thinking. uh, so Orwell, interestingly, says that there are four motivation behind every writer why he wants to be a writer or wants to write a novel or kind of fiction. And these are sheer egoism. One first point is sheer egoism. Sheer egoism means the writer wants to show off his talent, or wants to show off his thinking ability, or wants to prove something, that things that related to egoistic quality. The second point is aesthetic enthusiasm. Uh, I mean, I do not have to describe this point. He means clearly the 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 persuasive quality that that is can be found in all artists, musician, painter, poet, novelist. That that energizes the artist to create art. That is aesthetic enthusiasm. And the third point is historical impulse. In historical impulse, this particular point, historical impulse, Orwell says, desire to see things as they are, means reality, to find out true facts and store them up for the use of posterity. The fourth point is political purpose. Political purpose is what? Orwell in that point says that no book is genuinely free from political bias. The opinion that art should have nothing to do with politics is itself a political attitude. So Orwell say some writer might have political purpose, historical purpose, aesthetic enthusiasm, or sheer egoism. Uh, Here in this particular essay, why I write, there is also an important line that I feel I must quote here. And the line is, every line of serious work that I have written, Orwell have written since 1936, has been written directly or indirectly against totalitarianism and for democratic socialism. So, as I was saying, Orwell feels no work can be, I mean, out of political bias. So Orwell is not out of, I mean, not exception, obviously, and he accepts that. So these are the essays I wanted to discuss. Actually wanted to talk about, and there is nothing more to say. I hope you will read the essays like shooting an elephant is very much important. Why I write is very much important. Thought on Gandhi is very much important. Uh, Politics and English language is very much important. And there is also one essay that is not in this book, shooting an elephant. Uh, uh, that is I'm forgetting the title actually. That is actually about happiness and socialism. And in that essay, Orwell claims that socialists do not claim happiness. They do not bring happiness to the society. They just want to bring brotherhood, universal brotherhood. Because happiness, paradise, these kind of things are utopias, and utopia cannot be true, obviously. And Orwell endorses that idea. uh, Orwell, interestingly in that essay on, yes, the title of the essay was, "Can Socialists Be Happy?" with question mark. Orwell in that essay interestingly uh, says that a writer who imagines utopia or heaven, uh, it is obvious that he has a toothache. That's why he imagines that in utopia or in heaven there will be no toothache. So sorry. So According to Orwell, a person who imagines utopia or heaven, it is inevitable that the writer or that particular person must have some difficulty of living in actual life or actual world. That's why they imagine utopias or heavens. Uh, so I was discussing about Francis Bacon's essays and Lamb's essays, and the reason behind discussing them is that I want to compare these important essayists of English language, English literature, and as I was saying, Bacon's essays are more didactic, more like syllogism, short, structured, neatly structured teaching, uh, and and I mean uh, teaching and opinions. Lamb's essays are sometimes experience opinions, unstructured, free flowing, and easy to read. Uh, and and Orwell's essay, I mean, Lamb's essays are those essays that to a certain extent comes closer to uh, Orwell's essays, because Orwell's essays, though various in kinds and nature, are sometimes personal experiences, sometimes opinions about things, though biased may seem, but opinions and uh, strong opinions, but sometimes personal experiences. There is in the essays, I must say that reads like personal experiences. They're obviously personal experiences, but they're what I found and what I felt. There is a strange kind of mixture of fiction and fact in a unique way that that the that reads like non-fiction, but I felt, the non-fiction is designed in such a way that it I mean a I mean if you are a good reader, I'm not a good reader, I'm not saying that, but if you read carefully, you will see that there is a mixture of also fiction, kind of fiction, and those essays suggest many things rather than telling or revealing things. uh, Orwell's essays are clear, easy to understand for everyone. Those are precise in use of language. They are lucid, and they are free of obscurities or vulgarities and what I say, uh, vagueness. You know, so that is all that's what actually it. I mean I think this video has is long, but that is what I wanted to discuss, wanted to talk about. If you find faults, please comment, and if you think that if you have any points to add in my talk, please feel free to add in the comment box. And if you like this video, like this talk actually, you can like and let me know. And thank you.